Hello, good morning, happy Wednesday. Um, I sometimes wonder if you put all of my videos next to each other, if I start every one the exact same way with that. But that's me. Hi. So I honestly feel like it was just Wednesday yesterday. Like, didn't we just do this? Wasn't it just Wednesday with like me sharing about how I love Wednesdays? So I've got my tea break chat and I've got my coaching call with my client who I've been with for over a year now, and the girls come back and like, how Wednesdays are just the best. But I'm sure that just happened. Time is just like absolutely still doing its crazy thing, isn't it? I don't quite understand. So if anybody else feels that way, like what is going on with time right now, you're not alone. Me too. um, so this week, I guess, kind of, going off of that, this week I think it might be a shorter week. Famous last words. I know I always talk a lot, but I feel like I don't have as much to say this week, and part of that probably is to do with the fact that's what I was going to talk about is my word for the year. So I actually haven't posted it. Last year I did a post about it, and I think I still want to because it's a helpful reminder for me to come back to. But I started doing this word for the year as kind of, rather than setting like specific resolutions, which by the way is one of the questions I got today. So we'll come on to that a bit more later. But rather than setting specific resolutions, I like to set an intention for the year. And I've done this. This is now my third year. I feel like, I don't know if it just became a thing in like 2021 because I hadn't really heard of it before that, but I know lots of people who have been doing it since 2021. So this, yeah, being the third year. And so the first year, well, it was less of a specific word, but I set an intention for the year for 2021 of intention and courage. So although I didn't specifically think about it as those were my two words, those were my words for the year, were intention and courage. And gosh, did they change things for me. Those were great for me for that year. 2022, my words for the year were surrender and depth. I wanted to surrender more where I could lean back, trust in the universe, trust in those around me, and just surrender more. And depth, where could I go in deeper? Where could I check in more with myself? Where could I have deeper relationships with other people? So surrender and depth were my words for 2022. 2023 is spaciousness. Spaciousness. And I don't necessarily know what that will look like. That's kind of the thing. When you set your intention for the year, you don't really know how that's going to show up or what that's going to mean. But it's something that I come back to over and over. And it's when I set it, it's not necessarily like, I don't set it in a kind of sit down and like plan out my vision. And it's not in a doing kind of way. It's in a let this come to me, like how do I want to feel this year? Where do I want to kind of put my energy or release some energy around? And spaciousness just kept coming up for me over and over. So when things come up, that's what you go with. They don't necessarily have to make sense. But so spaciousness is my word for the year. And already that has been such a big part of 2023, even though it's only today the 11th? We're a week and a half in, and spaciousness has been the theme. It's been coming up in terms of relationships, in terms of giving other people in my life space that they need, and really a big part of it for me is giving space. It turns out this is a new thing for me. Giving space to other people can sometimes trigger anxiety in me, because even though I know that sometimes I need space and it has nothing to do with anybody else, or sometimes it does have to do with somebody else, but I need that space to do my thing so that I can come back and connect with another person, and that's fine. But when the tables are turned, when other people need space, that can trigger some anxiety in me, and it can trigger my people pleaser of how can I fix it? How can I make this better? Like, let me do whatever it is that I can to fix this thing, whether I caused it or not. When really that people pleaser inside of me, we acknowledge her, we give her a snack, we have her sit down on the comfy couch and tell her to chill out for a little while, because it's not my job to fix everything for everybody else. And it's also giving space to other people has triggered my too much anxiety. Am I too much for people? Am I too much for them to handle? At the same time, because this is the wonderful world of double binds that we live in, it's also triggered my not enough anxiety of like, oh gosh, am I not enough for them? Like, if I was enough, then they would want me around more, and like I must not be enough for them. It's this wonderful, awesome world where you can be afraid of being too much and not enough all at the same time. But that is part of the work, is really, so this spaciousness that I've been working on letting other people have has also been creating a spaciousness in me and really giving me a chance to ground into and connect back to myself and really work through those triggers and those old wounds of really going, you're not too much, you're not enough, like you double negative there, you are enough, and understanding that I don't have to please everybody else while they're doing their thing. I get to do mine, and that my job is always first and foremost to regulate my own nervous system, to get myself connected with me, and then trust that other people are doing the same in themselves, and that other people are taking care of their own nervous system, of their own needs, of regulating what they need, of calming their own stuff that's going on, their own triggers, their own wounds. And by allowing other people that spaciousness and giving myself that spaciousness, actually what we're doing in all of that is really strengthening the connection between us, even though it might not feel like it. And that's where the anxiety comes up for me of like, oh my gosh, if I'm giving space between people, like between me and other people, then our connection's going to be broken. And that's not the case at all. And it's really that actually sometimes the best thing you can do for your connection with other people is to give that space, is to give that breathing room. Because so my mentor, Chelsea Page, who I've been working with as a coach now for more than 2.5 years, Chelsea's amazing. But she's always taught me about this intentional intimacy pyramid. And this intentional intimacy pyramid has 4 layers. And the bottom base of it, so, the most sturdy foundation of the pyramid, is intimacy with yourself. Then it's intimacy with other people, emotional intimacy with other people. Then it's physical intimacy with other people. And then at the very top is sexual intimacy with other people. And each of those layers builds on the other one, because that's how pyramids work. And so really, when you are in a relationship, and I don't just mean like a romantic or sexual relationship with somebody, I mean friendships, family, any kind of relationship, but when you're in relationship, in connection with other people, sometimes the best thing you can do to strengthen your relationship with them, so the second level of intimacy with other people, is strengthening your intimacy with yourself. So that actually, by giving spaciousness to them and to me, that can sometimes be the very best thing for our connection ultimately, because we all get the chance to come back into ourselves, and from there we can build our relationship together even stronger. So that is what the start to 2023 has been about for me, really, is spaciousness. And like I said, I think that's going to continue. Well, that is my intention for the year, is to continue coming back again and again to spaciousness and really working on how that feels in my body. And part of spaciousness is slowing down, which I think you guys have heard me talk about a lot. It's something that I talk about with my coach, with Chelsea, quite a lot. It's something I talk about with my coaching clients quite a lot. It's something that's come up in new relationships quite a lot. No, not new relationships, plural. the current one. Every relationship, like dating relationship that I've had has taught me something new, and each one has had like very specific lessons for me. And the current one is about slowing down and spaciousness. But so slowing down is a big part of this piece, and it really gives your body a chance to calm your nervous system. And I've talked about this before about how like bringing pleasure into your life is such a healing tool, because bringing pleasure in calms your nervous system, and that then gives your body a chance to go, I feel safe, I'm taken care of, I can do the things I need to do now. And if any of you know, I'm going to get my reference wrong now. Is it Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Thinking back to my high school classes way long ago. I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where one of our like basic human needs is safety. And before anything else like gets to, come into our lives, we need to have that feeling of safety. So bringing pleasure in is one way that we can bring more a sense of safety into our lives. And then from that point, we can go on to do the inner healing work, the bringing in more joy, more pleasure, more able to get intimate with other people and connect with other people. But all that starts from that sense of safety. So that is why slowing down is so useful, because slowing down helps your body have that time, that space, that sense of safety. So that's going to be a key theme. I think that's all I have to say about it. Let me just have a quick drink. Yeah, I think that's all I've got on that topic. So I'm going to go into the questions part now. So I've got 2 questions this week. The first one is, how do I feel about New Year's resolutions? Now, this question did not come with a lot of context. That's all it said. How do you feel about New Year's resolutions? So I'm just going to answer, and I'm not sure if I'm going to entirely hit the mark on what you were wondering about or not, but let's go for it. I am not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, as I alluded to at the beginning. I used to set them, I think, when I was like a kid, a teenager. I'm sure I used to set lists of resolutions, and they were about going to sleep earlier and eating healthier food and yada yada yada. But it's been years and years. I stopped doing them ages ago, well before I got into this new practice of setting an intention for the year. But they just didn't feel comfortable for me, and I'm not against them in general. But for me personally, and I think for a lot of other people, the whole kind of like new year, new me, and, being bombarded with like, gym membership discounts and all the like, do a cleanse and detox and just all of the like bombardment that we can get at the start of January can be a little bit overwhelming. And now there is absolutely nothing wrong with, like I said, setting intentions and using the end of the year as it can be a really great way to kind of, and I talked about this, I'm sure, pre-Christmas. It can be a really great way, and in fact last week as well, to reflect back on the year that's been and to look forward to the year that's coming and to set your intentions and just use it as a good kind of like mark, like as a reminder to check in. Almost like how I feel about performance reviews at work. So I always believed in continuous feedback and continuous discussion with my team, and I never wanted anybody to be surprised about how I felt about their work. I believe that you should be having these conversations continuously throughout the year. But I also was a big fan of performance reviews, and we did ours 6 monthly, because I think it's really helpful to have those checkpoints every so often to really just stop and be intentional about it. This word intentional keeps coming up again. But because even when you're working on continuous improvement, continuous feedback and all of that, these checkpoints to stop and go, okay, what is the bigger picture here? What is the kind of stand back and look at it all thing? And I think that's really helpful. So I see like New Year's can be a great version of that. It can be like your life performance review. It can be just a great checkpoint to go, all right, where am I at? What am I happy with? What am I not happy with? Where do I want to make changes? So I'm fine. Like, I like that concept, but I don't like the idea of setting these strict resolutions that, especially because when we think of New Year's resolutions, we tend to think of like, I'm going to do these, like start these new habits, and they're like, they tend to be doing things. They tend to be fairly intense, and they tend to be like, yeah, quite action based, and it can be a lot. And then because of that, I saw a meme on Instagram the other day that said, I've never met a resolution I couldn't break within the first week. And, there's just a ton of jokes about how like resolutions are all broken. I was at the pub on Monday. So what was that? Maybe the 9th of January. And the people next to me were like, oh yeah, we broke dry January last week. And like, I don't even attempt dry January. I never have. But I feel like people who's, like, if you're going to say dry January and then break it right away and then feel bad about breaking right away, it just can lead to this cycle of, like, kicking yourself and being hard on yourself. And that's the part that I am just not here for at all. So I think rather than getting worked up about setting resolutions and then getting worked up if you don't keep your resolutions, instead it can be a great chance to, like I said, just reflect, see where you're at, where you might want to make changes, but be more gentle on yourself. This time of year, like, so winter in the Northern Hemisphere, I guess it's different. I don't think any of you guys are from the Southern Hemisphere, but winter around here, is cold and dark. Well, when I say winter everywhere is the dark part, but yeah, it's winter now in the Northern Hemisphere. And this time of year isn't about the going out and the being active and the doing all the things in nature. This is the time of year where animals hibernate. It's dark for so much of the day. This is the time of year to get cozied in. So if your body is feeling like, I don't want to get up at 6 o'clock and go to the gym every day just because I set this resolution, if instead you're feeling like, I want to do better for my body this year, but right now that means being really cozy, and that means being slow and, yes, I feel better if I'm not stuffing my face full of chocolate every day, but that doesn't also mean that I have to like go out and make fresh salads every day because it's cold and fresh salads don't sound that appealing. Instead, I want to do, trays of roast vegetables, and I can get my nutrients in these comforting, cozy ways. All of that is okay. I am so much more here for listening to your body, listening to what you need, and not trying to set and then live up to these super high bar resolutions if that's not what feels good to you at the time. So I think that actually for me and for a lot of other people, this time of year is more about the burrowing in. I mean, honestly, December would be too, but we've hyped up December full of Christmas parties and sparkles and lights. But in January, it's kind of like we can go, I can get cozied in now. I can stay in and enjoy the nights on the couch. And chances are, come springtime, you're going to be feeling more like, oh, spring's coming. I'm going to poke my head up and see what's going on. And that's more of the time when you're naturally more inclined to want to set, that's the time of new beginnings in nature and in our body. So if you wait until it comes more naturally, rather than trying to force it, you'll come up with things that just feel a better fit. They are more aligned with how you want to feel, how you want to live, and you're more likely to keep to them because they're things that feel good instead of things that you think you're supposed to do. So that's how I feel about New Year's resolutions. I hope that, like I said, I wasn't sure where the question was coming from, but I hope that was helpful in some way. Okay, my second question today was, when you have a busy schedule, how do you stay present and be your best self, show up as your best self, particularly for your kids, and especially during times of change, and if you're setting up a new business or you want to do personal development work? So when there's all of this stuff going on, how do you... Oh, I just see Ross joined. Hi, Ross. Isn't it like the middle of the night for you? Hi. Anyway, so yeah, the question was, how do you stay present and be your best self for you and for your kids when there's all kinds of stuff going on? And the person who asked this question did say, I have a feeling I know how you're going to answer, but I'm just going to check. Yes, you do know how I'm going to answer. So really, it comes back to the slowing down again and again and again and again. And when we slow down, we actually often find out you have room for more in your life. So it feels counterintuitive. It feels like we've spent our whole lives trying to do more and put more in a schedule. And like the more you have to get done, the more like do. But actually, the more you can slow down and give yourself spaciousness, we're back to that again, and really focus on what you're doing at the time, you will be more efficient at what you're doing. You will enjoy it more. You will find you have more time and more enjoyable time in other parts of your life. So, if you are trying to build a business or, trying to set up something new and doing your personal development work, and you have kids and you have your day job, actually trying to multitask across all of those all the time is going to leave you just frazzled and fried and with feeling like you're not doing any of it and or not doing any of it well and not have time for any of it. Whereas if you can do each thing that you're doing and just do that, you will end up feeling like you get so much more done in each of those pieces and finding it more enjoyable. Another big thing I will say is cut out whatever you don't need to do. Just don't do it if it doesn't need doing. In fact, there's a really great book that I recommend called, what's it called? Do Less by Kate Northrup, I think. I will share the title in the comments to this video because I can't remember exactly, but I think it's called Do Less by Kate Northrup or something like that. And she has all kinds of, I think there's 10 experiments is what she calls them, 10 different things that you can do to cut more stuff out of your life and really focus on and get intentional about how you spend your time. So it's not doing the stuff that doesn't need doing. We tend to, as humans, as women in particular, we fill our time because we've been brought up thinking like the more you do, the more you get done, the more valuable we are as people, and that's just utter nonsense. But so often when you look at what it is that you do in a day, in a week, there's all kinds of stuff we do that we don't have to do. And if you can get somebody else to do it, if you can delegate it to someone else, either partner, kids, paid help, or better yet, just have nobody, like if it just doesn't need doing, don't do it. If you can do it, less frequently, however it is, but if you can look at what it is you're filling your time with and be really intentional about that, and then slow down and be super present with whatever it is that you're doing, you will find that you feel so much better. Those around you are benefiting because the very best gift you can give people is your time and attention and your presence. And everybody wins that way, really. Okay. Is there anything else on that? I'm not sure I entirely answered your question there. But if you want to talk more about it, let me know. But I think, like you said, I think you already know that was kind of my thoughts. And it's always about slowing down, isn't it? Do less, and ultimately you'll end up feeling better about it all. Okay, that's it from me. Did I talk less this week? No, talked the same as usual. That's how it goes, isn't it? So I have the divorcee dating program coming out this month. I have not announced the exact date yet, but it will be coming up soon. So the doubting stage and the divorcing stage are already up on my website, which you probably know about, but I'm going to tell you anyway, lindseyhallcoaches.com. And then the dating one will be coming out in the next few weeks. So for each of those, there is a set of pre-recorded lessons available for you to buy. Those are, if you just buy the lessons themselves, there's 3 lessons in doubting, 4 in dating. 3 lessons in doubting, 4 in divorcing. And we'll see what's going to be in dating. But the lessons themselves is the bronze package. It's 122 pounds. If you then want private coaching support with me as well, which obviously I highly recommend, because going through any stage of divorce, whether it's like the very beginning thinking like, oh, is this what's going to happen to my marriage? All the way through to you're in the mess, or you've been divorced for a while and you're maybe considering going out dating again, or you've been dating and you're like, this is just a shit show, what do I do? Any of that, your circumstances are going to be very personal to you. And the more that we can dive into your stuff and your needs and work through your stuff in personal coaching, absolutely the better. So there's 2 packages available for that. There's the silver level, which is 1 call a month. There's the gold level, which is 3 calls a month plus Voxer support, which means you get me for voice and texting, voice notes and texting support throughout the week as well. So there's different packages for that. It's all on the website, but it ranges from just the lessons, £122, up to £722 a month for the gold package, 3 months option. Check it out on the website or on any of my posts on the grid. Quite a lot of them have it on there as well. So there's that. If you want to share this with anybody who you know who might be considering or going through a divorce, please, please, please send them my website, send them my Instagram, send them my Facebook page, send them anything to get them in touch with me. And just share it widely anyway, because you might not know who's in that position. And then, of course, there's also private coaching for those who are not going through divorce. So I've got you all covered. I think that's it. Oh no, one last thing. Next week is my birthday on Monday. So for this weekend, there's going to be some birthday treats, some birthday specials coming out over the weekend that are only going to be valid through the end of my birthday on Monday. So keep your eyes peeled for those because they're going to be fun. Okay, I think that's it. If you have anything that you want to talk to me about, send me a message, put it in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. And I love you all very much.